I got the picture. Help me to let go of things in my life. Because I've been trying for a long time to let go of some things. And I've been trying in my own strength. God spoke to me, as clear and as plain as day. And there's excitement in my heart. At first it was like, woo! Now it was like, okay, God, you're doing a work in my life. You're not mad at me. You're not disappointed in me. You're not punishing me. You're trying to protect me. You're trying to perfect me. That's what God is doing in your life. That's what God is doing in our church right now. And I believe it with all my heart. So he didn't resist, and he yielded to the enemy and to their plannings and strategies. Temptation is so very strong. We've been joking around about temptation, about how temptation is, and I'm battling the chocolate cake syndrome. I'm having fun with that, and I'm still battling. But it goes deeper than just craving. We're talking about how your body just craves, and we can see how strong temptation in the flesh is, by how we even desire food. But what about when temptation is about being deceitful and it's drawing you in? Because that's what happened to Ananias and Sapphira. There was that temptation. There was that desire. There was that want. They were new Christians. They heard all these teachings. They probably should have recognized, do we really want to lie to Peter face to face? But the pull of the flesh was so strong, deceitful, the pull of lust, the pull of pride, the pull of envy, the pull of self-serving, the pull of bitterness, and all these things that the world brings in. And the flesh just desires these things because the flesh is evil and dirty. And that's why we die. And that's why the flesh doesn't go, because it is contaminated. It is diseased with sin. The pull of flesh is strong. You can't do and fight on your own. A small lie that is never exposed because it is silent and unseen. That's what happens in our lives. We have these small little lies. It's not a big deal. It's not a big thing. It's not a big thing if I have lust because nobody sees. It's not a big thing if I have pride. I can make it so no one sees it. It's not a big thing if I have these things. It is seen. And when it roots down, it destroys and devastates. And it starts with this small lie. And it's never going to be exposed because it's silent and unseen. But so is its creator. Satan is the author of these things. He is a liar. He is a deceiver. He's the greatest of all deceivers. He lies, he deceives, and he brings forth death. We know that. We've heard that before. But we're witnessing it right here and right now with Ananias and Sapphira. So what is he wanting to do? The same thing he was wanting to do in James chapter 3 when he first wrote this. The same thing that he's trying to say in Acts chapter 5 when Paul wrote that, or Luke wrote that. It says when they saw this, they just kind of shuddered and took a step back. And they understood the power of Almighty God. And they understood what fear was. And they understood what obedience was. And he's trying to do the same thing right here, right now. Verse 16. As we close. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and every evil practice. This is the future of one using Satan's wisdom. If you use Satan's wisdom in your relationships with husbands and wives and children, your co-workers, and trying to serve and trying to be an active family member in the church using worldly wisdom, you will find disorder. There are churches today that are trying to practice God's ways using worldly wisdom, and there's disorder in the church. And that's why there's a form of godliness and zero power in the Church of Jesus Christ today. We can't do anything about churches across this nation, but we can do something about this one. We can decide who we want to be and who we want to follow, and if we will surrender or not. If we will have self-ambition a part of our lives, or we just surrender our will and our ways and yield to Him and allow Him to do whatever He wants with our lives. And I guarantee you, He can do more with your life than you can on your own. There is danger in store for all of our families and our church whenever we are pursuers of selfish concerns that cause us to neglect each other. We need to be on guard. Such wisdom produces anger. It produces bitterness. It produces resentment. It produces division. It produces divorce. And the list goes on and on and on and on. This wisdom robs us of love. This wisdom robs us of intimacy. This wisdom robs us of trust. This wisdom robs us of peace. This wisdom robs us of fellowship. It robs us of harmony. It robs us of unity with others. This type of wisdom absolutely disconnects us and causes us to walk the other way from where God is. What are you going to do? Say, oh, sorry, message is all good. He's a little long-winded. We didn't get out till after an hour. But other than that, it was good. Are you going to take these things seriously? We're going to take these things seriously. Next week's going to be harder. We'll find out next week, see if anybody shows. Well, I couldn't make it last Sunday. But again, He's not trying to punish us. He's not saying you're a problem child. He's trying to perfect us, to mold us, to give us purpose, to give us His principles, to understand who He is, how much He loves us. You see, we can't really understand the depths of His love unless we take on His characteristics and His principles within our lives. Because you can't understand the depth of His love if you live in the characteristics and the wisdoms of the world. Cannot happen. Cannot happen. You cannot exercise all these characteristics and love when you're holding on to the wisdoms of the world in your life. You know what we do sometimes? Sometimes we think we can outsmart God. We'll hold on to something. We'll put it back. We'll put it down for something, but then we go right back and pick it back up again. You know what the enemy says about that? Sure. As long as you pick it back up. I'm here to say we've been holding on to things way too long. And God has been pulling and been pulling and been pulling and been pulling. But it's our job to open up your hands and let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And let God rule and reign your life, your family's life, and the life of this church. Because we are not here for any of us. We are here for Him. If we're going to be here for Him, we might as well serve for Him with all power and all authority, so that lives can be changed from the message and the gospel of Jesus Christ.